Okay, so run to scripture, especially when life throws you things. Run to scripture and let God comfort you. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Those are the ones who know they need God. I'm just going through these chapters I went through the other day and dissecting them more. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. The ones who cry to God, those are the ones who are going to be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Jesus says that the one who's your servant is the greatest. So you always want to put yourself in a position of being a servant to everybody. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Wanting to know what's right and running after it and wanting to know the truth is the truth will be there. It's everywhere. It talks about in Proverbs how if you just call out, truth is there, wisdom's there. You cannot not see truth in life unless you really don't want to see it. And then in cases where people are not saved, God has blinded them, and unless God lets you see, you won't see. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Try to be merciful to people even when they have hurt you. Try to be forgiving and kind. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. A lot of people use this verse with sexual purity, and there is a part of that, yeah. But I think it's more those who are good in heart, those who are not full of themselves and full of evil. I think it's those who are innocent, much like children. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Do everything you can in life to make peace with people. Do everything, even if it's not your fault. Try to make peace with people. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Don't compromise your beliefs. Don't compromise truth. I heard recently, like today, Lauren Daigle had not taken a stand on homosexuality. She said, I can't tell you if it's right or wrong. I'm not God. That was a cop-out. Of course it's wrong. It's very clear in the Bible it's wrong, and we're living in a day of a lot of transgender stuff. Don't compromise. Why would you do that? You want to be persecuted. You want to be hated. It's like Chris Pratt said, he says that he's hated and there's nothing new about it. Jesus was hated 2,000 years ago, and in John it says the world will hate you. So we should rejoice in that, okay? Because people are only going to hate you truly if you're a real Christian. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice, be glad, okay? It's true, be glad, because you know that you're God's when people hate you. I was very popular in school, very popular. But now I live a life where I get hated for, just being a Christian, and I rejoice in that. Because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who went before you. Everyone likes people who like them. Why should you not be persecuted? And then I love this about the salt. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty? Again, it's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. So same thing with the light of the world. You're the light. If you deny Christ, he will deny you. If you lose your salt, salt was for flavoring, right? Back in the day, they used salt to preserve and flavor food. You're no good for nothing, basically. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. Neither do people light the lamp and put it under a bowl. Yeah, let your light shine, guys. Don't be afraid. You should be able to walk into a room and a whole room lights up with your presence. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill them. Yeah, so it goes on here about the words in red. Yeah, try not to be angry with your brother. This is pretty serious. I mean, there is a righteous anger. There is, and you should have that. But don't be calling people a fool, like seriously a fool. Although scripture does call people fools, there is a place to say you're being foolish or you're acting like a fool, but don't call people fools in a really bad way. Don't be lusting. That's a big one. If Jesus is in your heart and he's number one, that's going to keep you from lusting. Yeah, divorce is wrong. It's wrong. Unless it's for sexual immorality, and even that you can overcome. But if a man puts away his wife, he actually does cause her, he is still accountable because she can be a victim of adultery still. I mean, for me, I'm going through a divorce here, and I'm responsible for how I behave. But if you're also not to marry someone who's divorced, so I think what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to, come back together and be reconciled. But if you have been divorced, like I'm being divorced for no good reason, it's biblical. My husband abandoned me, neglected us. I'm free to remarry. If he doesn't want to reconcile, because it says in scripture, if an unbeliever leaves, just let him go. But you should be keeping your vows. That's the ideal thing. Keep your vows. And it's actually kind of criminal for a man to leave his family and leave them with nothing. I believe it's very criminal. It's rotten. Be careful about your revenge. Don't be like that. Love your enemies. You should be able to not take things personal and be able to turn around and even give your enemies, a cup of water or just their basic needs. It doesn't mean you're going to be friends with them or you agree with them, but you should be able to do that. Always be generous. Give to others. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing, though, when you give to others. Don't boast about it. Same with prayer. Don't be out there like the hypocrites. Jesus says, being like, oh, look at me, I pray, I'm so godly. Don't be like that. Go in the closet and hide. Nobody should know. There's a place for telling people that God answered my prayer. You definitely have a place for it, but nobody needs to know either, when you are praying to God, what you have prayed for and how he has answered that. Don't be boastful, in other words. If you're doing it for his glory, it's different. Jesus talks a lot about money. I was surprised that he does talk about it so much. It's amazing to me that he would talk about money so much. I saw a couple birds today, and one of the birds had a worm in its mouth. And this is something that I didn't see before. God says that he will take care of us like the birds of the air. So you can think, oh, I don't really need to do anything because he's taking care of me. Well, even the birds go hunting for worms, right? So we are to do everything we can to make money, but no, it's all from God. And yeah, so I'm just finishing this up and just going to go through this and finish my time with God. Perseverance is big. Keep on knocking, keep on seeking, go to God, and don't stop in prayer for things. And a lot of times I just heard someone say fasting will help you get more focused and more clarity. So go to him always.